Hi y'all. I thought I'd come do a little video. I actually did my makeup for the video and then decided to like record how I did the makeup. So anyway, I don't know which one's gonna be up first, but at least there's two coming. And forgive me if you hear, let me see if I can turn this up. If you hear anything in the background, my TV in my bedroom is on. And my daughter was in there watching it. I don't know what she's doing right now. And then my youngest, she's literally right outside the door playing with her dog. So, if you hear anything, it's probably one of those two. Okay, so as you can see from the title, I'm coming to y'all with my adoption story. So, let's get started, shall we? So, technically, I don't know how to put it. Like, I basically was adopted, but by my family, if that makes sense. So I'm also eating some stuff I'm not supposed to be eating. Okay. Anyway, so when I was my birthday's in January, January 6th, beginning of January. My mom got sick. My birth mom, she got sick, and she actually passed away on Christmas while I was still 2 years old. But they kept her on machines until 2 days later. So if you look on her records, it says she died December 27th, but she really died on Christmas. So basically the week and a half after I turned 3. So when people ask me, I always say she died when I was 3. Sometimes I say 2, but most of the time I say she died when I was 3 because basically I was 3. I was days away from being 3. So she passed away, and um, her one of her supposedly one of her dying wishes was for my grandmother to take me. I had an older sister, and my grandparents were, at the time, they were old. They were in their late 50s, early 60s, so they were older. And my grandmother was sickly. My grandfather, he had issues here and there, but he was a little more healthy than my grandmother was. So um, the whole family wanted. Initially, this is the story that I heard, and then I'm gonna tell y'all what I found out later on. But anyway, what I've known all my life is that my grandmother got me, my aunt um, got my sister, and my aunt got my sister because my sister was, how old was she? If I was 3, she was 10. So she was 10. She was a little older. My aunt was, of course, younger. Um, and my aunt already had an older daughter who I'll call my sister, but she's really my cousin. And then she had a son, and her son basically was the same age. I think they're like a few months apart. So it only made sense for her to go with her. But I think a 3-year-old with all of that probably would have been too much for her. That's one of the reasons why she didn't take me. And to be honest with you, my grandmother just wasn't having it. Why? Maybe because I was the baby. I don't know. Maybe because my mom told her that. Like I said, I don't know. I was 2 years old. So that's the story I've always got now. Um, a few years ago, I got the real story because I was just really questioning a lot about what happened. And a lot of people growing up, my family didn't tell me much, which pisses me off to this day. But they kind of figured, their excuse was I wasn't old enough to know. What pisses me off is I get if I'm not old enough to know, but when I got of age, old enough to know, they still didn't tell me anything. So that's what pissed me off. And they kept telling me, basically lie upon lie to hide stuff from me. And anyway, so I actually found out And I found out this through my sister because she was 10 years old. She was old enough to remember. She knew what was going on, even though she really couldn't determine, what it was going to be. She understood, more than me. I was 3. Um, so I found out from her, and it was kind of messed up because she kind of put it all on Facebook, and then I read it and was like, the hell. And then I actually called my aunt and my cousin, my sister cousin, and got a lot of information, like I said, that I should have gotten but didn't. So what happened initially is that my mom told, okay, so let me just say this. In my family, because we're all mixed in, especially with me and my sister, basically being adopted by my family, the rest of my family, most of my family members have multiple positions. So like my aunt is technically like my aunt slash mom, because my grandmother that raised me passed away, my grandfather that raised me passed away, my mom passed away. So now she's taking the place of a kind of a role from all of them. So even when I say aunt, it feels weird for me to say aunt, even though she's my biological aunt. I call her Luda. So if you hear me ever say something about Luda, now you know who she is. Okay, so my cousin, who I call my sister, is Luda's daughter, the oldest daughter. But like I said, she basically was a big, big portion of my life growing up and raising me and teaching me and guiding me. So I consider her literally my blood sister. Um, and then her brother, I call him my brother, even though he's my biological cousin again. So yeah. So anyway, like I said, if you hear me say anything like Luda or my sister or whatever, or my oldest sister, that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, so I found out that after my mom passed away, um, that we were almost like up for grabs with my family members. So I have a aunt and a cousin that lives in Florida, and she was at that time she was well off, she was established, she was married, she had the space, she didn't have she had kids, but they were grown at that time. I'm talking about real grown, like, you know, probably early 30s, maybe a little younger, 20s, in the 20s, late 20s, whatever, grown. So it was just her and her husband in this house, and he was in Florida, blah blah blah. But I found out that they only they felt like they could only take one. And if I can remember, I feel like they wanted my sister. They didn't want me. And they didn't want me because I was so young. That's what I believe. Yeah. Yeah. So they basically say, yeah, we can take one, but not the baby, basically. And I think that was the main reason why my grandparents was like not having it, because it seemed like everybody was willing to take my sister and wasn't willing to take me. And so when I found that out, I was like really upset because I felt like, well, damn, like my mother passed away. Um, I didn't have anybody but the immediate family around, and didn't nobody want me. So I kind of felt initially everybody made it seem like my grandparents wasn't having it, and I was gonna come with them, and that was it. But then after hearing that story, I felt as if nobody wanted me. They all wanted my sister. So I kind of fell into my grandparents' like arms type thing. Like, anyway, I felt real lost. And this was recently. This was only like a few months ago when this happened. And I felt really upset and lost. Because even to this day, I feel like nobody wanted me. That's how I felt.